Hi and welcome. In today's video I want to talk a little bit what you should not do when you visit or live in Sweden. I'm personally originally from Germany and I have lived in London, UK for about 10 years before I moved to Sweden just outside of Stockholm 3.5 years ago. I came here with my British partner and our 2 kids, although one was born in London and one was born here in Stockholm. Before we jump into the 10 things you should not do here in Sweden, make sure to subscribe to this channel and also sign up for my newsletter. There is a link in the description down below. Let's get started. So the first thing you should not do is skip the queue. So Swedes highly value queuing. You can see that everywhere when you are queuing for public transport or queuing in line to buy something. They just order value and fairness, and queuing is just part of their DNA. And I actually remember in my early days, I once accidentally jumped a queue. I didn't know really it was a queue because there was always so much space in between people, and I just thought they were waiting for something maybe coming later. But actually no, it was really ordered and they were waiting for the next bus coming, and totally jumped the queue. And the consequence is nothing. I think no one will jump on your throat and be super angry with you, but obviously you feel the annoyed kind of eyes on you when you don't obey to queuing. It's just very impolite, and if you do not want to be impolite, just make sure to queue. The second thing you should not do in Sweden is brag about yourself. And that is something quite different, for example, to the UK. I remember even writing a CV, for my job, and I read what you should actually write in there, and it was all about boasting about yourself, how great you are and how much value you brought to the company. Of course, they want that. They want you to be a great person for the job and bringing value to the company, but you can't just burst that out and basically say that you're so amazing and that's why they should hire you. But I don't only mean when you are getting hired. It's also when you just have normal conversations with work colleagues or with friends or potential friends, that you would just come out and say all the amazing things you have done. It's just not a very good character to hear, bragging. So being humble here, you come further than bragging about yourself. The third one is don't fail to remove your shoes indoors. And maybe this is one of the things you hear quite often when you hear about Sweden. If you go to someone's house, make sure to take off your shoes immediately. It's very, very impolite and doesn't show much respect when you don't remove your shoes. You don't want to make a home dirty. But it's not only in somebody's home. There are a lot of spaces like libraries where you should take off your shoes. Normally there are signs, so it's made a little bit easier for you as a reminder to take off your shoes. But yeah, because of I think the weather sometimes here, especially in winter, you don't want to drag all the dirt and wet, snow, whatever it is, inside of nice places like libraries, and therefore you should always take off your shoes. It's the same actually in schools and kindergarten. Kindergarten I can see makes maybe more sense, but also in schools, and I didn't have that in Germany for sure. We never took off our shoes. We always had our shoes on. But here in Sweden, in my child's school, you take off your shoes, and the whole school building is without any shoes from outside. So yeah, that's definitely a thing here in Sweden. And then do not arrive late. Don't arrive late. I mean, I'm personally German and we are known for our punctuality, I would say. But Swedes are, we have probably a common thing here where Swedes don't like to be late or, want others to be late. And it is because it's just a sign of respect. When we say 3 p.m., 3 o'clock, then be there at 3 o'clock. I do remember we picked up our daughter probably maximum 5 minutes late from a birthday party. Maybe it was 4 minutes late. And I got a text message saying like, where am I? Why is my child not picked up already? Basically, I mean, they haven't. A Swede would never say that like I just said it. But it was basically, oh, we are closed now, we are leaving now. They said it a little bit through flowers, but yeah, it was literally just 4 minutes after the official closing of the party. So that was a bit funny, but yeah, you have to respect it and don't arrive late. Then number 5 is don't forget to say thank you. You know, this might be a very common thing, but even the most common things are not very, you know, respected sometimes. And that's why I'm pointing this out here, that you definitely, you know, when someone helps you, or even in a restaurant and you get your food, say thank you, you know, be grateful. I think that's quite important here in Sweden as well. It's all about respecting each other, and therefore saying a thank you is just invaluable and very appreciated. And if you don't say that, you know, again, no consequences, no actual consequences, but if you ever wondered why someone might not like you so much, you know, it's probably you didn't say thank you for something or missed to say thank you a few times. So don't forget to say thank you here in Sweden. And number 6 is don't speak too loudly. Again, this is more like an unwritten rule. Of course, you can be as loud as you want to be, but here in Sweden, and I can see that even when I go into town in Stockholm, which takes me on public transport probably about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm very surprised sometimes that at 9 a.m. People are quite quiet in the tube, you know, or in buses. Not always, of course, but often I discovered that, you know, they're just not very loud. They do talk, but, you know, it's in a very like normal, quiet way. And I know that other nationalities can be quite different to that. And again, you don't have any consequences. Just if you want to make sure you respect Sweden and, you know, the Swedes, and no matter if you live here or if you're just visiting, then don't speak loudly, or, you know, don't disrupt everyone's kind of commute, basically, what they're doing. It's just a matter of respect and giving some space to others and respecting their environment. And then also number 7, don't litter. I mean, when you are here in Sweden, if you've ever been in a Swedish city or in somewhere in nature, like littering is just again, it's a sign of disrespect. So if you do litter, it shows disrespect. So don't litter, so you show respect. And by no means everything is perfect here. Every now and then you do find like little corners of people not respecting it. We have a group as well. I think it's a Facebook group for our area. And when sometimes someone posts like the recycling area, and there are people who are not properly recycling and they're leaving things out. And then others are pointing that out in that group and saying like, if it was you should really like make sure that everything is tidied up. So Swedes get angry about it if you don't respect, you know, everyone's environment or the natural environment, and you litter. Number 8, don't break the rules. If you have lived here for a while, you know that Swedes I wouldn't say they like rules, but they respect rules. You know, rules are there for a reason. And from early on, they learn to follow the rules, you know, in kindergarten, in school. And I think everything comes, you know, the whole kind of core value Sweden has is this: respect each other, respect nature, follow the rules so everyone lives a good life kind of thing. And I'm not saying people break the rules, of course, and some rules are even sometimes there to be broken, maybe. Of course, we are all humans. We are not robots. We don't want a 1984 here either. So I'm not saying that every single person like is following the rules. The rules obviously need to make sense as well. It's there to protect people, it's there to respect people, so hopefully in a more positive way to follow the rules. But yeah, just in general, you have an easier life in the community, you know, in your social life if you don't break the rules here in Sweden. Number 9, don't challenge the freedom of speech. And that is a very interesting observation. You get the impression that Swedes are following along everything they are told, but don't be mistaken. So that's a little bit of the opposite of what I was just talking about, following the rules. But Swedes have a strong desire for freedom and autonomy. Freedom of speech is very important to them. It can be sometimes a little bit controversial. Like, I don't know if you remember, but in 2023, there was an incident in Stockholm where a man was allowed to burn a Quran. And it got like a lot of press, of course, because it's something very, I feel like also aggressive. So I'm putting some judgment over it for sure. But for Swedes, it's not only about doing the right or wrong thing. It's a lot about everyone has the right to speak freely. Unfortunately, that also means like if it is something negative about something, they say they can't just, you know, suppress it because it's a part of freedom of speech. So it's a very kind of very complex topic, I would say. But I also talked with friends about it, and you could really sense that it's not about what really happened. It's about what you as an individual are allowed to do, and you know, you have the freedom of expressing yourself. And obviously it did not physically harm someone immediately, but it obviously had other mental, psychological consequences. But yeah, that's something to consider here a bit, like don't challenge freedom of speech here in Sweden. And then the last one, number 10, is don't try to make small talk except for one specific topic. So Swedes are not very big small talkers, if you say that. Normally you can obviously talk to Swedes, but they're not so much about like, you know, how are you kind of thing, and like talking about something which might not be true, or you're just talking for the sake of it. But there's one topic you can always talk about with a Swede, and that is the weather. The weather is always a great topic to talk about. You know, if it hasn't been sunny for days, you know, you can talk about this and how you feel about this and what your desires are. Like, we can't wait to have spring and the nice weather again. And like, yeah, you can talk about this for ages if you want. But in general, just try to avoid small talk with the Swede. Well, I appreciate you watched till the end, and I hope I will see you in my next video. Until then, have a great day and stay safe. Hej då!